From deep in the Burbank Media District, it's time for another edition of myBurbank Talks. This podcast is presented by the staff of myBurbank. Now, let's see what's on today's agenda as we join our program.
Hello, Burbank. Craig Sherwood here with you as always, and we're at Police and Fire Service Day, once again, 2025. And along with us, of course, is the Honorable Ross Benson.
Who I don't know about honorable, but here I am. We are doing another podcast. Look at that. Can you believe that?
It's great. And we have our band back together again, so we, of course, have Craig Durling with us.
Hey, guys. Good to see you. Good to be back with the band.
What do you think, Craig? We have done this for a couple of weeks, a couple of years.
It's not our first time at the rodeo, as they would say.
No, but boy, look at everything going on. This just getting kicked off. It's, a little after 9, and there's probably a couple hundred people walking through already.
Oh, they come wandering through before because they've got the farmers market going on, but it's always such a great day. A lot of people, we say it year after year, come here, come to Fire Service Day, Fire and Police Service Day. There's so much to see, so much to do, and it's always a fun day. Get yourself a breakfast, get a shirt, look at some pictures, watch some demonstrations. It's always a fantastic day, and it's free.
And I'm looking right around our table. We got train display. A couple of firemen maintain that. We have sidewalk CPR going on with nurses from St. Joe's. I see the kids down there pumping on mannequins.
Yeah, the mannequins, yeah.
I looked outside, and the PD has a conglomerate of stuff. It's just amazing.
Well, the police department's here. The airport fire department is here with some apparatus. The police department is here with demonstrations and equipment you can look at. There's a fire engine right here on the apparatus bay with, I believe, Mickey and Minnie are going to be making an appearance for photo ops with the fire engine. So
that is a crown. That is one of the, that's a crown. That's one of the original.
But it's worth noting because we are in Burbank, California. It's the real Mickey and Minnie.
Yes, it is.
That come here.
And they look pretty good for like 70 years old, don't they?
So do we.
Yeah, that's true. Well, so I'll tell you what, we're going to get some real good guests for you and talk to some people and find out what's going on in the city and in the department. So we'll be back with you in 1 second. And we're back, and we have Captain Matt Garland of the Burbank Fire Department with us, who is his first year actually in charge of doing this entire shindig here, and so far it looks fantastic. Ross, why don't you? I know you got a couple questions for the captain. Why don't you?
I do know Matt. I've known Matt. I've been around a couple of years, but I remember when you came on. You have gone up through the department.
Correct.
You've been on every piece of apparatus almost.
Correct. I've been July 19th will be 31 years.
Now, the people of Burbank really. That is 31 years. You've committed your life to Burbank Fire Department. It's one of the best departments. I know you'll say that.
100%.
But today Fire Service Day is a big event, and we'll probably see a couple thousand people come through here today. Public education is real important. Burbank Fire Department, that's a very big thing for that. And you're in charge of Fire Service Day this year as your first time. So far, it's going real good.
So far.
But during the week, you do other things. You don't just plan out Fire Service Day. You have a very big task.
I do. So the position is, the actual title is called FP16, Fire Prevention 16, and we use numbers in the fire service to like Engine 11, Engine 12, and so I'm Fire Prevention 16, and I am in charge of all production, permitting, and film in the city of Burbank. So if you're not aware, we have probably over 80, 90 sound stages in the city of Burbank. On top of...
With 16 more coming, I think, too.
So, yes, 100%. 16 more coming from Warner Brothers, the ranch, what used to be known as the ranch.
Right.
And then we also have Warner Brothers, which has 26, I think, sound stages. That is a different entity. They're such a big production over there that we actually have a captain, like myself, assigned to Warner Brothers.
And that's all he does. His office is
on the lot.
there.
His office is on the lot. He's on the lot.
And I believe Warner Brothers actually pays his salary. Is that?
That is correct.
Yes.
That is correct because, as we know, obviously we're trying to bring production back here to California, but it's not cheap. And so we found ways. It's actually a lot cheaper for them to hire out a captain, pay his salary, than actually being charged for every single permit that gets thrown their way.
And many people don't understand the reason you have a captain there. Production companies change things on the snap of a finger. You shut down a production company, it can be millions of dollars for an hour, for 2 hours. Having a captain there working with the shows and everything, they don't have to call up here, and if you're busy somewhere else, you go out there, but they have.
And let me follow up.
Correct.
What's the criteria to have a firefighter on the set? Because you can't have 90 guys out there. There's 90 things going on at once. So what's the criteria that somebody needs to be on the set?
So the way it works is a production company, and let me start off by saying we've got different levels of production companies and different levels of what we do and how they film out there. So one of them right off the bat is the student film. So we have New York Film Academy here in the city of Burbank. There's AFI, which is American Film Institute, USC. I don't know if you've heard of that school. They have a very big film production.
In Burbank?
Well, no, just in SC. But what happens is they'll come over here.
They'll
go to burbankfilm.com
Okay.
and they'll apply for a permit. And they're going to say we have 6 kids filming in an apartment complex, but they still have to file for a permit because they're using a camera. Anytime they're filming, that's something that's going to have longevity. And we charge them a really, really, really low rate. And it's a student film. The next level comes up, and we call it a temporary production location. That would be anywhere in the city of Burbank that they want to film. Your house, your neighborhood. They'll apply for that. We kind of use a number around 50. And that includes for a fire safety officer. What you were talking about, the criteria for there to be a fire safety officer. Every single
FSO.
film, an FSO. Every single film has to be permitted in the city of Burbank. But they may not have a fire safety officer. And the biggest thing they'll do for a fire safety officer is when there's an open flame, such as candles, such as special effects, and the biggest one is a live audience. So any type, iHeart has their theater over there with the old Johnny Carson, where Jay Leno was.
NBC, yeah.
NBC. So when they bring in 300-400 people for a concert, we'll have a fire safety officer assigned. And every single firefighter that comes to the city of Burbank within their first 2 years needs to be FSO trained. That is a requirement in order to be a firefighter because filming is so big in the city of Burbank. So that's where we'd use a fire safety officer. A lot of times if it's under 30 or so people that are filming at a house, and they're doing some interior shots, I'll do what like Ross says, I'll spot check. So they pay a little fee, they get their permit that says they can film, and then I will come by or anybody else in the Fire Prevention Bureau, all of the people that I work with, and we'll do a spot check. And that fee that they paid includes that spot check. And we just make sure that everything's on the up and the up. The citizens of Burbank and the people that live in Burbank know that we film in Burbank, and they're on top of it. The first thing that the neighbor will always do is they'll go right up to that production company. They'll ask who is the location manager. I mean, they know more than I do. And they'll say, "Oh, can I see your permit?" And they'll show them their permit. It's great.
Talking about that, I don't know how many of our listeners or our followers are aware we have a lot of production going on in Burbank. Right now it's slow, but
Warner Brothers is at 90% capacity right now.
See,
One of the highest capacities in all of the studios in Southern California.
But that's because of the sound stages, too.
Yes, exactly.
And that's
100%.
why they're building those 16, because sound stages they're needed.
Yeah, 100%.
and also people don't understand special effects has to go through you.
Correct.
All that sort of thing. Production companies just can't be willy-nilly. Burbank Fire Department is very, what's the word?
We're very specific and on top of what needs to be done and filmed in the city of Burbank. And I'll tell you right now, we do have a lot of people that will see something, and they'll contact me, and I'll be like, yes, they have a permit. They're good to go. People that film in Burbank are very aware of Burbank, and they use Film Burbank, and we coincide with Gina, who runs the PD side for permit. So they are the ones that actually overall issue the permit for the city of Burbank to film, and we are just a small entity.
So in the Bureau, what they call the Bureau,
Fire Prevention Bureau, and we
Bureau.
are changing our name recently,
Wow.
so I don't know if I can introduce that yet. We're going to hold off.
We need the exclusive right here. Come on now. We need it.
Okay, I'll tell you right now, I told Ross, if I'm working on Engine 11 as a captain on Monday because I'm getting moved from my spot.
I'll call the chief
taking full
personally.
Okay. We are going to be Fire, Life, and Safety.
Okay.
So it's going to be called basically the Fire, Life, and Safety Division.
And
It
people
may be the official title, and we're trying to get away from the prevention side of things.
Right.
Because what our fire prevention members do is fire life and safety.
and people don't
They're the
understand.
start of
Yeah, and I think
what
that's
happens.
a great it's great for the public to know what that is. Then.
Yes.
And also, one of your people in the bureau, it does schools. Another one does hospital and industrial buildings.
That is correct.
You guys there's what, 6 of you or 5 of you?
Right now we have about 6 or 7. We're going to be hiring another person. We actually had one inspector that just left us.
Plus people don't understand plan checks goes through the fire department. Those,
Everything.
everything.
I mean, obviously, what the general public see are the fire engines and the life safety and again, Burbank Fire Department is not one of the best; it's the best. You get a minimum of 5 firefighters that respond to your house on any 911 call, and that's amazing.
Yes.
And that's again a minimum of 5, and then like Ross was saying, the Fire Prevention Bureau, every building that is being built in this city, which we know is a lot right now. We have the Fry's lot that's going to be building massive stuff over there. Go down the 5 freeway, it's coming up, right? We've got a bunch of housing with over commercial. All of that needs to be inspected. Every single portion of that gets to be finalized, and it goes through our assistant fire marshal, Danny King, who's amazing. He's been with us for 20-something years, many years. Another dedicated person to this city. That's basically it's all encompassing. Besides just the EMS and the fire protection side of.
Well, I think people that aren't here that are going to tune into this podcast, they don't need to be here to learn. They probably didn't know another facet of Burbank Fire is your job in the Fire
100%.
Prevention Bureau. So they could learn by listening to this podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Matt, I'm going to let you get back to running around checking on things. I'm going to check. We're going to check.
I kind of like this. No one's bothering me. My phone's not ringing. This is fantastic.
Well, we're going to check with you at the end of the day to see if you still have black hair or gray hair, and see what your feeling is on everything else.
So far, it's fantastic, and we've got Minnie and Mickey here, and it's just and we've got the obstacle course. We've got tons of stuff for everybody to see and look at and do.
And lots of tchotchkes for giveaway.
Oh, my goodness.
And I hope we have some paramedics standing by because I got a feeling we might get a heat stroke.
It's a little bit
there,
it's hot today, so if you are coming, please bring your water, stay hydrated.
People
stay
just aren't.
cool.
I know there was a call yesterday up in the hills, 21-year-old male, heat stroke.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're 21 years old and you're out hiking on a day like this, and
Our bodies aren't acclimated.
We didn't think about bringing
Exactly.
stuff
Even
with
though
you,
it was only 85 degrees, and sometimes it gets to be over, well over the hundreds here.
Yeah.
Our body's not acclimated to that heat yet, and
Right.
So, and 81 degrees feels like 100 degrees. Yeah. That's probably what it's going to feel like today.
Oh, it probably will be.
Well, we look forward to. I know you guys you have planned what we call filleting a car. You're going to kind of show a little
extrication demo here coming up. Yes.
And what that shows for people that aren't here is what you get when you get on scene of a rescue and somebody could be trapped inside. How you have to cut it. Now there's airbags and there's bumpers that are you got to watch for. So you'll be doing that. I know the truck company is out there, and I see the ladder up. I think you're going to have a fireman go to the tip.
Possibly a firefighter is going to go up to the very top and maybe open up his BA pouch and pull out a plane or two.
Oh, kind of cool.
We'll see.
Let me ask you. It's really not the jaws of life anymore. It's in the Hearst tool now, or
now.
But jaws of life is
those
kind
are
of an outdated term.
It
we
is.
all know it by
It is
jaws of life.
and you can continue to use that if you like. It's right now we have Homatro tools, and they're actually battery operated.
Oh.
Which are the batteries these days are amazing. It puts out when I came on, we used the hydraulic lines, and it was a lot of pounds and pressure, but these battery-operated tools are amazing. They're quick. They're efficient. It's the
They're
way
probably
of the
quieter
future.
too.
They're quiet. Yeah. Normally you'd hear those things from over here. You will have no clue what they're cutting up a car. And it's great for the people that are in the car that are already stressed out and they're stuck and they're possibly injured. That's the last thing they want is all the braking, the crashing, the crinkling, and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But so it's a lot of the tools that we use are modern tools.
And I think I know you got hazmat out here. People can talk to the hazmat guys.
That's correct.
The airport has
which
which
I've been for over 25 years.
Oh, okay.
Hazmat specialist. I was the hazmat coordinator for 4 years. out at Station
So you've
12.
done a lot of things in your 30 years of being here.
Like you said, I've moved up the ranks from firefighter to engineer to captain.
And now look what they put you in charge of.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why we love our Burbank Fire Department, because there are so many guys that are 20-year guys that have been in Burbank. Now you can pass the knowledge on, of course.
100%.
But you know the city. And, it's just not, there's not new guys all the time, And
No, it's
thank God we got
great.
that new contract. The guys want to stay here now.
Yep.
And it's a great thing.
The firefighters are very helpful. We have a very young department, which is great because I think we're going to see these firefighters move up the ranks.
Yep.
And they're gonna make a future of Burbank as their home. So.
Well, Matt, we're going to let you get back
All right.
to checking out
Thank you,
things.
Captain. We
Thank
appreciate
you
it
very much. I
again.
appreciate it.
All righty.
Thank
Thank you very
Nice
much.
meeting you. And if you're listening to this, come on out. Enjoy the day.
Super.
All right. Thank you.
And we're back, and we have with us Vice Mayor Tamala Takahashi of the city of Burbank. Vice Mayor, good to see you once again. How are you doing? What's going on?
Thank you for inviting me to be on the show. I'm excited to be here, a little warm. I think today is supposed to get up close to 100, but I am so thrilled to see how many folks are here today. This is Burbank.
Well, that's it. This is Burbank. This is a yearly thing. The second week in May is a standard thing, and I've been doing this since just when it was a fire department, but now you got police and fire, you got people see everything. We've seen already probably 1,000 people walk by us. They got tons of displays. So what do you think? This Vice Mayor, your fire department is the best.
Is the best. We are so proud of our fire department. And we just got a new EMT truck for the fire department last year. Our new fire chief, Danny, has got that for us. And now we have more coverage for our emergency health services. So super excited about that. And our fire team is amazing. Our health EMT team is amazing. Very proud of our department.
Well, I'd like to bring up right now, and I know you push it quite a bit, is the EMS program.
Yes.
And I know you're a real big advocate of that.
Yes.
People don't realize either $7 a month or $82 for a year. If you call 911 and Burbank paramedics respond, you will not be charged for the transportation from your home or anywhere in the city, if you're a member, to the local hospital, usually St. Joe's. And nowadays, that ride is a $1,500 Uber ride.
Oh, easy. So I unfortunately, my family, we had to use it recently. So we've used the services, and we know firsthand. And what happens is that they actually bill your insurance. And then when your insurance covers whatever it covers, and then the rest of it is covered by your $7 a month. So if you take a 911 call and they come to your house and you need a trip to the emergency room, they'll take you, but you do have to sign up ahead of time.
Yes.
So you do have to go onto your BWP account and sign up.
And that covers not only you, but everybody who lives in your household.
Everybody in your household, every single person, for one fee. Absolutely.
Yeah, what a bargain.
Yeah.
I remember when they started, Mike W. Davis actually was our fire chief that put that in, and they collect about $1 million, and that helps pay for our paramedic program.
Absolutely.
People don't realize these guys need to go to school and maintain not only the equipment, but the rigs, their meds, all that. Yes, they get reimbursed, but it's a great fee. And Burbank did that many years ago, and I tell you, you dial 911, you're guaranteed to see somebody within 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you cannot beat Burbank paramedics and fire department.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I know $87 or $85 is can be an extra fee on what you're already paying for BWP, which I know is tough. And you may never use it. Hopefully, never need it. But if you need it, it is really nice to be able to just say, yes, take me to the hospital, not have to do that math in your head while you're in an emergency situation trying to figure out whether you can afford a trip and whether to take your own car or have them take you.
And you don't have to carry any cards. You don't have to show them any ID.
Nope.
They do that when they talk to you and they get your information, and it's kind of automatic. So that's one thing I know you advocate.
Yes.
And last year, I remember you said you wanted the fire department to push that out a little more.
Yeah.
So we get more citizens to do that. I remember you wanted to, everybody in Burbank should service.
I wanted to have everyone automatically signed up. I'd hope that would be like more of an opt-out versus an opt-in, but unfortunately...
That's why I gave everybody the right to vote,
Unfortunately, I guess it's not legal to do that. I mean, it seems unfortunate that it's not, but yeah, so it is a voluntary program. You do have to go there and sign up for it. But I do know that... Yes.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. You can do it online, and
yes.
you don't have to come to the fire department, or come here.
Right.
You could do it all online.
Yes, you do. Yeah. And I do know that the fire department is putting more information out about that and making sure that folks are at least in the little leaflet in BWP leaflet
Right.
coming out. So.
And I know you're in the middle of, or you started budget session last week, and you guys saw the fire department didn't ask for a lot.
Yeah.
They want to up some programs, and nowadays with everything going on,
last year they approved the 4th paramedic van.
Exactly.
It was only part-time, but it makes a big difference.
Yes.
We're not bringing Glendale and Pasadena as much because of that.
Yes, exactly. So we share services with Glendale, Pasadena, and LA even. And so what happens is if any one area is over taxed, the other areas come in and step in. But that both takes away from those folks' resources, and it's extra money and paperwork and all that stuff. So it's just better if we respond. It's also faster if we respond to. If we're pulling an EMT unit from LA, it takes longer. So it's better for us to have it in-house. And then also our folks know Burbank, so it's better for us to have our folks responding to these. So
I've used the service, and I know the guys that our paramedics are stellar.
Top notch.
I mean, when you're in the middle of a medical emergency, you don't want to have to worry. And these guys,
absolutely,
they'll get you to St. Joe's, and I think they say that golden window is a 20-minute. If you are down and they can get you into a hospital within 20 minutes, they can save your life from almost anything. Yeah,
and to that point, when they bring you to the emergency room with the EMT van and all that, they have a direct link to the nurses and the staff there, so they can let them know exactly what the level of your situation is. Whereas if you go through the emergency room on your own, you're going to go through their triage process, which is great. It's still a great process, but you're going to get much more expedited and more targeted service if you're able to go with them through that.
And having St. Joe's here, I think I grew up. I wasn't born there, but I've been there many times. My son's been there. Born there.
Two of my kids were born there.
Yep, it's a great service.
Let me turn the page a little bit. And get off fire and talk about another one of your pet projects. Electric bikes.
Oh, electric bikes. Okay, let's move on to that.
I know we got that coming up pretty soon too on the council, and I've actually been looking at an electric bike myself.
Wonderful.
Engineer. So will you sit down with me in a minute?
So what do you think about going on with coming up with what's coming up on the council and what's going on
with electric bikes?
Yeah.
Right. Yes. So electric bikes is an emerging technology. It is a vehicle that is, has been around since before cars, far along the bikes themselves, right? But adding the electric part to it, especially at the level that the electric assist is now, is an emerging technology. So we're adapting to it and trying to figure out how to best manage it so that folks have the accessibility to use the e-bikes, which is, by the way, the highest selling vehicle class in the country is electric bikes. But there's multiple versions of electric bikes. Some of them go faster than others, and there's different uses for them. And so commuting, but also playing around in the park. So we have to figure out the best way to allow folks to be able to use electric bikes for their commuting or for their getting to the store or whatever, but also recognizing that when they go fast in certain areas, it can also be dangerous.
Well, last week I responded to an accident. 15-year-old kid up on Kenneth, flying down out in the back of a car. Parents show up, and the police officers said, their hands were raised. Well, he wanted a bike, so we gave it to him.
Yeah.
No helmet, nothing. He ended up out at Holy Cross.
Oh.
The bike was one of these, it could get up to higher speeds.
Yeah, especially downhill. They all can go pretty fast.
Out in the back of a car and ended up on the hood. It's going to happen, and we got to regulate it.
Yeah. And those kinds of behaviors too, even with regulations, are going to be tough because kids are going to make, or people are going to make choices that sometimes are not. They're still growing brains, but at the same time, if there's an awareness around it and an education and understanding that these bikes are not toys. Bikes are fun, but they're not toys. They are a vehicle, and so it's important to treat them with respect and to treat ourselves with respect when we're riding them.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate you stopping by. You got a couple of thousand people to shake some hands with.
I got to go around and say hi to people in the 97-degree heat out here.
Well, I'm glad you stopped by here real quick. And again, happy Mother's Day for tomorrow.
Thank
you. Absolutely.
Thanks for being part of our podcast.
Yes. Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, Ross, hey, we have another guest. Why don't you introduce her?
We sure do. We have Christine
Alice.
There we go. I didn't want to mess that up, but a lot of people don't realize the different jobs within the fire department. The fire department and the police department, most of the departments have a department administrator. And what does that department administrator do? Well, Christine, you are in charge of the books. You do the reports for the chief when he has to address council. When things go to order, you're the bean counter, kind of, right? You know, myBurbank, just, you know, a lot of people don't know the different, parts of the fire department.
Oh, sure.
You have an important part.
Yeah, so I think most people are familiar with the fire suppression and EMS aspect of the fire department. But behind the scenes, we have our administration staff. And so my role at the fire department is the fire administrator. I oversee budget and finance and provide administrative assistance to the chief in various areas, including our accreditation process, staff reports to city council, preparation of various memos and correspondence with council, the city manager's office, and the public. And I also oversee our administrative staff, including our Fire Prevention Bureau clerical staff. So there's a whole other side to the fire department in terms of, interacting with the public for fire prevention, emergency management, and then our administration section as well. So I'm hoping the public can get to learn a little bit more about those areas.
Well, that's exactly it. A lot of people don't realize, everybody sees the fire trucks. You see at a fire, you see the paramedics hard at work. But there is so much to do, scheduling and ordering. And, you just don't get a fire truck dropping out of the sky or a new piece of apparatus. That comes from you and a different chief and so forth. Now, how are you enjoying it? You were previous to this, weren't you for the city council?
So actually, immediately prior to this, I worked for the police department. I was a senior administrative analyst there. And then before that, I worked for the city manager's office. And then prior to that, I worked for the finance department, but I actually started with the city at the library department.
Really?
So yes, I started as a clerk and then jumped onto the analyst track. Which I'm so fortunate I've had the opportunity to work in various city departments and really grow in the city and learn from my colleagues. And now I feel that I'm continuing to grow in municipal finance, and so we'll see what opportunities come up down the line. But so far, I'm really enjoying my time at the fire department. It's a great place to work. Not just for the things that I do, the day-to-day job, but the people that I work with. They create such a warm atmosphere, and they really embody the mission of the fire department. So I really admire them for that, and I'm very fortunate to be working for the department.
Well, I know the city is very fortunate to have you, like you said, move up from different departments to where you are now, and that fire administration job is pretty important job. Your office is literally between one chief and another chief.
True. Yes, it's sandwiched between the chief and the deputy fire chief's office. And what's great is that I get to work with the division chiefs, so I get to learn a little bit about every aspect of operations. And yes, there's a lot of preparation that goes into, the budget every year, to planning for replacement of equipment and apparatus, and also emergency needs that come up throughout the year. We always have to be prepared, right? We don't always want to be going back to council and asking for money. We're also cognizant of the fact that the fire department is the second largest general fund department in terms of budget. So we have a financial responsibility to maintain our budget, to look after our funds, and make sure that we're providing a high level of service with the allocation that council has given us. So we always want to be prepared. So I enjoy working with the chiefs, coming up with creative funding solutions. We have so many federal grants that we receive as well, and we're always pursuing these external funding opportunities to make sure that we're continuing to provide a high level of service to the community.
And you are. I mean, I always say to a lot of people, not too many times you can dial a 3-digit number, 911, and you are guaranteed to see somebody at your front door, either a fire engine or fire truck or paramedics or whatever emergency you need. And that just doesn't happen. I mean, so you have a very important job within that chain of operations and so forth, and working with some great people.
Yes. Yeah, our administration and staff jokes that we're third responders just because we're in the background. And, ultimately, like what we do, it does trickle down and affect operations, right? So it's great to be kind of part of that larger mission in that way. Yes, working with my colleagues, that's one of the best aspects of the job. You can love what you do, but it's like that work environment as well that just makes it even better. So I've learned so much so far I've been here for 1.5 years in the fire department, and looking forward to learning much more. And again, I have some great mentors in the department working with the chiefs, so really enjoying my time here.
I know we're going to get Dave Burke on here, who is now our deputy
Fire
chief.
Mm-hmm.
And we've watched Dave go through the ranks, and quite a few. We've had Matt Garland, who's in charge of today. 30 years, he said. He's, you come here and time flies when you're having fun, they say. So.
Let me ask you a question here. So you've got a department to department. What perception did you have of the fire department before you came in that was not like, okay, this is what it's like, and found out it's not? What is there a perception that you had that is not a perception? And also, let me ask you this: what is the one thing that you've learned since being in the fire department that, I had no idea about this, and that people want to know about? So
I will say the public safety departments, like before I even went to work for the police department, public safety was a little bit of a black hole because the administration staff in either department, my feeling is that we don't always have the opportunity to work on citywide projects or interact with staff in other departments. That's something that internally I think both departments are trying to improve upon. Because it's better for staff to network and have those connections. But coming to the fire department, I only knew about the fire suppression activities and the EMS activities.
Sure.
To learn about all the other services that we provide to the community, like hazardous materials response, and the regional coordination that we have as well. The fact that we operate within Area C and work with all these Verdugo cities. And all the agreements that we have with state and local agencies for automatic and mutual aid. That was eye-opening for me, just to see how integrated we are to fire suppression and response, within the area, within the region as well.
Sure.
And how much of an impact we make. So that was eye-opening for me.
So I'm curious, you've been through with a couple of different departments. What do you recommend if a young lady is interested not to become a firefighter, but to a career path? People probably had no clue what you're doing, and you've shared with us. And so, if anybody's listening and has a daughter, and maybe a relative in the fire service, there's an administration job that hopefully you're not leaving soon. But I mean, every department has a department administrator, and I mean it's a goal somebody could work toward.
Right. I think the crux of what I do is within finance. So if you are familiar with municipal finance, basic aspects of accounting, budgeting, I think that's a stepping stone to step into this kind of role. But there's so much more that can be done in this type of role. When you look at comparable agencies or larger agencies, there are administrators that actually go out on strike teams on larger incidents, and they help with these administration teams manage, the finances for a larger incident. So there are more learning opportunities for roles like this role, and perhaps in the future this role will grow into something like that. But there's a wide breadth of tasks and administrative experience and knowledge that one can bring into the fire administrator role.
Well, it's so interesting listening to you, and like I say, I happen to have worked with the department administrator for many years. And people don't know, and I'm glad you got to share with us. What do you think? I know you've been around the fire department here. You've been here for the previous fire service. Can you believe how many people are coming out and love? I know, this is great. Even with the heat, it's great to see the turnout. And we're very appreciative of the support that the community shows us. So, we hope to continue that and to grow our relationship with the community. But it's great to see everyone out here. Yeah, and I always say, when we have raging fires or we have an earthquake or something, people want to bring stuff to the firemen, cookies and food. They don't realize there's a whole group of people that are just as important as those guys that are out fighting the fire, like your job. You probably don't think of it that way, But
Right. I think, even at City Council, when the chief gave an update back in January after the windstorm event, he mentioned obviously our firefighters that went out on strike teams to assist with the Eaton and Palisades fires, but also our clerical staff who fielded all those calls, and those concerns from residents when they were calling in to see what was happening. Would there be potential evacuation orders in Burbank? How could they donate? How could they help? We, at staff in our admin offices, we had to also be kind of that front line and interfacing with the public during that kind of emergency. So I think both sides of the house are active anytime some kind of emergency arises.
now, I'm going to ask you quietly. You've done police. You've been over on that side of the building. Now you're at the fire side. Now, come on, tell me. I see you're wearing Burbank firefighter shirt.
You're going to get me in trouble.
Well, no, because I want to just. What's your favorite so far?
Well, I'm here now, so I'll let that be my answer.
Well, there you go. It's a great department. I've been around here 50 years with these guys, and like I said, people don't understand. Every time something needs to be ordered, you're the one with the sharp pencil. So I want to thank you, Greg.
Absolutely. No, I nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And I did not actually know what you're doing. And hopefully, one of these days you'll get on a strike team, maybe.
We'll see. We'll see what opportunities come up for me to continue to grow in my role. But no, I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to work for the fire department and to continue to grow within the city of Burbank. It's a great place to work.
Isn't it? I mean.
And I grew up in Burbank as well, so
you go
it's really nice.
Go to one of the schools here?
I did. So I actually went to George Washington Elementary, John Muir Middle School, and then I graduated from Burbank High.
Well, Craig and I are both.
And college, you went where?
At UCLA.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
a Bruin, huh?
Very hard to get into that school.
But, it's funny because my son went to Burbank High. I'm a Burroughs guy. But you know what? Our schools produce some fantastic people.
Yes.
And
Great
you are
school
a
system.
perfect example of a product of our school. And now look what you're doing. I mean, 100,000 people rely on what you do.
And, it doesn't feel like work because I feel like I'm giving back to the community I grew up in. So, again, I just count myself very fortunate to be able to work for the city and for the fire department.
Well, I want to thank you so much I know I pulled you away from talking to Courtney, and you were a little shy to get on, do a podcasts are pretty easy, aren't they?
This is fun. This has been really
It's just
fun.
like talking to people, that's all.
Yeah.
Well, people will
Except
listen.
we have 200 million listeners.
Well, the people that will get to listen to this probably had no clue about a fire administrator. Again, they see fire truck going down the street. They don't think about your job and local graduate of, Burbank, stay right here. I always find people that have graduated from here, from our schools, are great city employees. You know where every street is. You know what goes on.
Mm-hmm.
This is your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's.
Yeah, it definitely helps to have that advantage of being familiar with the community, but also caring and loving the community that you grew up in, right? So.
Yeah. And don't you get that? I was talking to Courtney and she said the same thing. Today, Fire Service Day, this is community. Just great seeing all these people happy. Come see what the fire department does. Normally, they don't get to see this. Only time most people interact is either they've been involved in a medical problem or a fire or something.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get, that firemen live here. Firemen buy their own groceries.
Mm-hmm.
But there's everything else that goes with it.
It's true. Most people interact with public safety on what's often like the worst day of their lives. So it's great for them to come out and experience the department in a positive way. And I'm so happy to see families as well because, these kids may be inspired one day to pursue a career in firefighting or on the administration side. It's great exposure for them as well. So I hope it inspires them.
Well, it does. And, I always love to see our firemen that are applying. We have that, you can't hire a relative within the city. But,
Nepotism.
Nepotism law. But, the people that we hire are top-notch guys. And, you work with them.
Oh, yeah. And they go through such a rigorous testing process as well. And the department, we're very proud of the fact that we facilitate our own firefighter recruit academy. So there's so many stages that these candidates need to go through before they become an official firefighter with the Burbank Fire Department. So it means that we ensure that we get the cream of the crop.
Yep, exactly. And we do. I mean, they're great.
Yeah.
They're great. Well, I'm going to let you get back to enjoying what's going on here. I appreciate you coming on over.
Thank you. Thank you
Again,
for having me.
Thank you very much.
Very nice chatting with you.
Nice to have you on the air.
Thank you.
Super.
Okay, Ross, well, we have another guest and one of our great paramedics in the city. Why don't you introduce her and start the conversation?
I am so happy. We have with us, joining us, Jennifer Hoffman. I've known Jennifer since she came on Burbank Fire Department. She is the second female firefighter for the city of Burbank. She has been a fireman, a firefighter, and then I remember we talked about her love and blood. That's a joke between us. She never wanted to be a paramedic because that was not in her realm. We talked about it, but then she was a paramedic and have been, and you still are certified.
Yes, sir.
And now she is just promoted to the rank of engineer. In some cities?
And what does an engineer do, Ross? Well, that's good. What does an engineer do?
We're going to ask you. Some cities call them chauffeurs,
That is pretty much what I do.
but you are.
But at the fire, you're actually the one running
We're
all
a
the
lot-
equipment, the hose lines, everything else.
We have a lot more responsibility than just getting there safely to the call. We obviously have to think about considerations for where we put our rigs and incoming resources we don't block other resources. So those are the first things. And we have to provide enough view of the structure for our captain. So we've got a lot of considerations, where the hydrant, everything going through your mind at once. Once you arrive on scene, it's your job to learn and know how to operate the pump. So when they start pulling hoses off, it's your job to get them connected, get them water, depending upon the different lengths of hoses, different sizes of hoses. They all run at different pressures. And you have to be able to calculate that in your head quickly and get the right pressure to the right hose line so that they can have adequate water for the fire.
And as an engineer, and you're down at Station 15 right now at Verdugo and Beechwood, since you are driving the rig, you have to know every street in this city.
Yes, sir.
You have to know, and down there are some strange ones by the Rancho area. Yeah.
There is.
So you have to know every street in advance.
For me currently, I have some comfortability being at 15s. I've been at 15s at least the last 5 years, riding an ambulance, RA-15. So I'm very familiar with my first in streets. I know all the streets of Burbank, but there's times where I may look up and, yeah, that's down that road, and I go this way. But in 15's district, it's like the back of my hand. So that helps out as well. It relieves a little bit more stress than you can think about other things.
I'm bringing in
Oh, boy.
your other half.
I don't know.
Come on over. This is your gorgeous son, Cody.
Paid.
Kate, I'm sorry. And your other half.
Lillian.
And you support her. I remember when she came on, and it's kind of neat.
It is, yeah. You
You
need
know.
a lot of support. And when I got my pinning the other day, standing up on that stage, I said, you don't get into the profession, you don't get a promotion without a village of people behind you. And that's kind of what this job is all about. So now that, when you work your way up the chain, you throw it back down and you take people out and you help them learn how to do the things that you didn't previously know how to do. And that's how we make each other better and our department better for our
And
city.
I remember you and I talking about paramedic calls. You've seen anything and everything.
A lot of stuff, yes, sir.
A lot of stuff, and it's task-oriented. Get through a task. You have a job to do, and all the blood and the guts and whatever else, you got to go through that. But
Yes, sir.
you have a life to try to save, and you've done that many times. I know that for a fact. And in your new job as an engineer, that's a real important job. It's the next step is captain, but doing what you're doing, raising a family, it's a lot.
It's a lot, yes, sir. But it's a great job to have. I wouldn't trade it.
And
I have a family that supports it.
And I'm happy to say, the second female firefighter for Burbank, and you've been an excellent example to so many others. We now have a new female firefighter, which is great, and it's nice to see.
Yes, sir. And Kelly was the first. Kelly Morris. I'm sure she's been on the podcast, or people have heard her name, and she had left big shoes to fill for me. And I just saw her at my pinning the other day. It was great to reconnect, and I remember the days we rode the RA together, and it was really fun. And I enjoyed having her there to kind of ask questions and get me through, and help me out. So
In the early years, did you have small little battles to get get things done for yourself? I mean, sleeping quarters or all those things.
No, the
I think
Burbank Fire
Burbank's pretty
Department.
good about things.
Burbank
but-
Fire Department's been great. I've had no curls, and even if I did, I probably wouldn't talk about them on the air.
Right.
But
Because
the guys are great.
I'm sure a lot of nowadays we look at girls and guys and say, you know what, anybody can do anything.
Yes, sir.
Where it didn't used to be that way.
Yes, sir.
So you kind of blazed a trail for the next generation.
I hope so.
Well, I know you guys want to get back to enjoying Fire Service Day. Jennifer, I know you've always been so sweet to me, and I mean, you said hi to me on the fire ground or wherever we are. You've always waved, and I appreciate the friendship. So.
Of course, we're here for the community and the friendship. That's what we do. It's who we serve. So thank you guys.
Coming on the show, and we appreciate it.
it.
Congratulations on the promotion.
Thank you, sir.
All righty.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Okay, Ross, we're back with a very special guest, somebody who's been very helpful to my Burbank over the years, Battalion Chief Dave Burke.
Well, not any longer Battalion Chief. That's the thing. We get to introduce him as Deputy Chief for the Burbank
Really?
Fire
I did
Department.
not know. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
You know what?
Appreciate it.
I'm very happy for you.
Thank you, sir.
You really deserve that.
Thank you. Thank
You
you
know,
very
if
much.
anybody, Craig and I have seen you come up from the ranks.
Yeah.
You grew through this fire department, and
yeah,
now,
for sure.
now you're the second man, kind of the one in charge. But Danny kind of runs the department, but
For
you
sure.
run the day by day. And I don't think people realize the importance of a deputy chief. I mean, it takes a lot to run a fire department.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I think I can't start without saying it's really based on the good work of our people first, right? So what we do day in, day out, night in, night out is respond and handle emergencies, all risk emergencies. And that's really on the backs of our men and women that are serving in all of our fire stations. Additionally, all of our administrative staff, our fire prevention staff, our mechanics, our analysts, our executive assistant, our clerks, we're pretty deep in the number of people that are committed to the mission of this agency. And that's why we do the things we do, and we do it so well, is really because of those people. My position is really at the top of all those people, and I supervise multiple divisions that oversee all those people and really empower them to do the things that they know how to do and need to do and do, like I said, day in, day out, night in, night out. The three operations battalions are the A shift, B shift, and C shift. And so there's 3 battalion chiefs that each run each one of those shifts. I supervise those gentlemen. I supervise our Fire Prevention Bureau, and that who runs that is Battalion Chief Jim Moy. He's the fire marshal. Also supervise our EMS division. That's run by Battalion Chief Pete Garcia. And I also supervise our Training and Safety division. That's supervised by Battalion Chief Trey White.
Well, that's one. I don't think a lot of people realize this last couple of years, things have changed. You guys, we didn't have EMS, chief, and we've added a couple of chiefs, which you need to when you bring on more. You and I know, but you have been in all those positions. You were fire marshal.
Yep.
When you were in charge of the bureau, so
Right.
you had that experience.
Right.
You know the studios darn well.
Yep. I was assigned there for a while.
And then you've been on the line.
Yep.
As a platoon chief.
Yep.
And now as the deputy chief to make the decisions and all.
Yeah.
Now I got a question for you.
Yep.
You replaced a great deputy chief
Yes, sir.
that I worked with for 30 years, I think.
Yeah.
Mark Hatch.
Yep. He's something
What
special.
a guy.
Those were some probably hard shoes to fill.
Yeah, you can't fill them.
You can't. I mean, Mark is and still is.
But
Yeah.
you bring your own perspective to the job also, which
For
is,
sure.
is really good.
For sure.
Well-
It's funny that people will come in with a challenge and I won't have the right answer, and I'll say, what'd Mark do? and then I'll go, okay. And then I do it my own way, and I should have done the way Mark did it.
So I'm curious. Here's a tough one. I'll make it
Yeah.
only tough question.
Okay.
Now, Mark retired as deputy chief. You're now deputy chief.
Yes.
Is there a retirement date, or are you going to be in that position for a while?
Well, let's put it this way. I'm gonna be kind of slick here. I came on the same class with Mark.
Oh,
okay. Wow.
Yeah, so I know he looks like 10 years older than me and acts like he's much older. And I'm going to get a copy of this and send it to him. But we did come from the same class, and we have the same years on. And so retirement is in my future when I would say sooner than later.
And I know you just recently had a hip replacement.
I did.
I need one very, very bad.
I suggest you do it as soon as possible.
You know, and you came back, pretty quick.
Yeah, within a month.
That's just amazing now. But we have a fantastic fire department. I don't care what anybody says. You know, you dial 911, you're guaranteed to see some fantastic people.
For sure.
It might be the worst day of your life.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter to them. They're going to treat you with the best treatment that is available to mankind.
Absolutely. We're so fortunate. In Southern California in general, the fire service is so professional and so great, but I'll specifically talk about Burbank because it's where I work. And you talk about the strength of our organization, and you can't say it enough, it's our people. And if you look around at every single uniform that's in this place, and there's a lot of people that are off duty here that came in off duty that are not working today, that are firefighters or support staff, and they also come here, and they all care about this department. They care about the people they serve, and they're amazing people. And you're right, Ross. When someone calls 911 and we go out the door, you're getting the best of the best.
Yeah, and you know, you don't get put on hold when you dial Burbank's 911 service. You talk to a human. When it gets transferred, our Verdugo fire system, a lot of people don't understand. We're part of a communication system that does 14 cities, dispatches for about 14. And, when Burbank gets busy, yesterday was a good incident that they were real tied up. They came from Glendale, Pasadena, boom.
Yep.
There's no question. In fact, there was too much rolling, and the chief had to say, thank you for
push them
trying.
back. Yep, for
you
sure.
know, I guess, and most people don't realize, rescue cushion. Not every city owns one.
Correct.
Burbank handles hazmat.
Right.
Glendale has hazmat, but Pasadena has
USAR.
heavy USAR,
Yep.
USAR. That means a rescue cushion.
Correct.
They use that. They put that on the freeway yesterday.
If needed, yep. Yeah.
And then I guess Glendale 29s has a cushion that they started responding.
Yep.
It's just amazing. And a lot of people don't, there's no city lines anymore.
Yeah. The fire service probably really does that really, really well compared to a lot of different departments. You could argue law enforcement, police do it well, water and power do it well, but I think fire has led the way for a lot of years just because in California with earthquakes and wildland fires and floods, oftentimes you do not have the resources in a particular municipality or jurisdiction to handle the emergency that has emerged. And we need to rely on others, and we've done this forever. And so the system in California has gotten well developed and well used, and it functions really well on us sharing resources and asking for help and departments giving help. So we see it on a day-to-day basis.
And it is seamless, totally seamless.
100%.
Greg and I listen to Verdugo, and we have for many years. The dispatchers over there, they're top-notch.
Yeah, they are.
Yes,
Absolutely.
it's computer-aided, but it takes a brain to talk and put stuff out, and they are just top-notch. And they can work an incident in Burbank, Glendale, Pasadena, could be brush, could be something at the airport, and it's a great team.
Yeah, and they're really amazing. So when you listen to the radio, and I listen to the radio obviously on duty all day long, but I also listen to the radio when I'm off duty. There's certain things I need to listen to, and you hear very professional people on the Verdugo side, on the dispatch side, but they're humans and amazing, amazing people. If you go into that dispatch center and you talk to the people from the top to the bottom, they're amazing people that are committed to helping people. And when you hear them, they're almost robotic on the radio. Yeah. And there could be multiple incidents going on, a fire, a USAR, resources being moved around amongst the cities, regional requests for equipment, and they are the same day in, day out, and you never hear their voice tremble at all. They're on point. And then when you go over there and you talk to them and you see the human side of it, you're really amazed that they aren't robots over there. They're really good, very professional people that are committed to the mission to help.
Well, they're treated very well. They're treated just like firefighters.
Yep.
Their workstations are fantastic.
Yep.
Where they think about that. And now they have a dog.
Yeah.
That stays in, Cooper, the dispatch dog.
Yeah.
Who lives with one of the dispatchers. But you think about it, when you're handling some of the calls, you're talking, you can take a call from a screaming mother that their baby's not breathing and the stress that they're dealing with. And they have found good old Cooper comes sitting next to you. That dog can tell.
For sure.
When they're stressed out, and just having that dog there.
Yeah.
It
eases a lot of tension and is good for them. So
I know you've gone over there. I've seen you and a couple of times gone over there and visited.
For sure, we go over there.
And, we can round this out. Go ahead, Craig.
I want you to jump in your DeLorean for a second.
Okay.
Go 10 years into the future.
Yeah.
We have the Fry's project, the 777 front.
Yeah.
We have the stuff on it. Plus, we need 25,000 more housing units for SP 35 purposes for Burbank.
Uh-huh.
Where do you see the fire department in 10? We have 6 stations.
Yep.
And we're gonna, there's another 30,000 people. What do you see in 10 years? Are we going to have to add
Great
stations or equipment, or what's going to have? We're looking to have 4 paramedic vans.
Yeah.
But what about everything else? Because Burbank's going to expand in the next 10 years.
For sure.
Where do you
for
see
sure.
it going?
That's a great question. When I came on the job, and it's going to be 31 years here shortly.
You don't look it, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
You don't
thanks.
look it.
I started with the feds before that when I was 18, so
Wow.
it's been a little longer. But long story short, the way we did business and the way we looked at what our downrange needs were well intended and well thought out, but they were really anticipating based on expected need. That hasn't changed. But what we do now is things are based more on analytics. We know there's going to be needed changes. There's going to be changes that we'll need to do in the future, and it'll need to be based on analytics. Things like how many more calls we are going on, how much our resources are committed and unavailable for another call. There are a lot of metrics that we have to take into account as we determine what we're going to need in the future. Make no mistake about it, we're going to need more in the future, but it has to be based on data, analytics, things that are on paper. Mathematically, you can say, okay, we need this, this, and this because of this, this, and this. And fortunately, the fire service in general has realized that. And as we look downrange, we are really relying on being accurate and looking at our data, looking at our response times, looking at how much our resources are committed, being agile enough to recognize we're seeing a trend where our RAs are now being committed this amount of time and are unavailable for another call. We have this response times have extended, and being quick and recognizing that quickly, and then being able to ask and forecast that, hey, we need to make changes here. This is what we need from stations to people to resources.
Well, it's really people see fire trucks, see fires, or see a paramedic at an accident. They don't realize all the stuff that goes on to make that all work. And you being a deputy chief to make sure.
And to keep that Class 1 status, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you keep things running even keel.
Yeah.
In fact, Ross, let have them explain. What does Class 1 status mean? Because Burbank worked hard to get that. And they have it on the rig. Class 1, it's just not showing off. It actually does mean something.
Yeah, for sure. It's the ISO, and it's basically the way that they rate a fire department's ability to handle emergencies, specifically fires, and insurance services organization. And there's a criteria where they come in and evaluate the department, and Class 1 is the highest, and it is a big win for us to be a Class 1 and maintain a Class 1.
Wow.
That there isn't a higher classification. So
I remember the work that went into it.
The Burbank Fire Department is the highest class, and there's not a lot in the United States that are Class 1. Burbank is one of them. It's something to be proud of, and it's something that we do have to work hard to maintain, and that's one of my jobs, along with everyone in the fire department, to help maintain that.
Well, I think of all the different positions you have been in. For Craig and I got to thank you. I want to thank you on the podcast. You have been, when we've called you or texted you, you've gotten back to us. It's been in the middle of the night or the next day. We kind of push you sometimes. You don't have all the facts and figures, or what started the fire. You don't know, but we appreciate as your position. Just know that myBurbank does appreciate everything you do.
And so do our readers, because that's who actually wants the information.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you saying that. And you guys have always been very supportive of the fire department, and we can't thank you enough.
All right.
Well, thank you, Dave, and don't retire before the end of the
And Deputy Chief?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank
fantastic.
you guys. All right, thank you.
Okay, Ross. Well, we have somebody a little bit different from a firefighter here. We have an RN from St. Joseph Medical Center, Providence St. Joseph Medical Center, one of our great advertisers, Tabitha Kovac, who's a registered nurse. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Ross, take over.
Tabitha, I have been out with with your team, with our sidewalk CPR. That's what you're here today doing. You team up with several nurses to teach sidewalk CPR. People don't know. It's no more, jumping on compressions, blowing in their mouth.
Correct.
And let's talk a little about that place called SJMC, or Providence. Now there's that TV show that everybody's watching.
The Pit.
The Pit.
The Pit.
Yeah.
And, I know they use part of the old ER.
Yes.
I remember when the first building was built over there, I photographed for the hospital. But St. Joe's is an amazing place.
Yes.
I know a lot of people, some people I've lost a family member there, but life goes on. But in case of an emergency, man, you're going to be taken care of. And sidewalk CPR can save a lot of lives, and it does. So explain to us just, how it's changed and your mission coming out. You probably saw 500 people today. Not all of them doing compressions on people, but
So we now only do hands-only CPR. We've stopped providing breaths to people. We've learned that time we're taking out of compressions is actually pretty detrimental to mortality. So we want continuous circulation throughout the body until advanced life support.
Is that because the beating of the heart helps the oxygen in the brain? So
the blood, yes.
So helping the breathing really doesn't help because if you're circulating the blood, then that does the same thing.
Correct.
Okay.
you can do CPR. I like that.
There you go. Actually, I've used the old Lucas device over here and plug that thing into the wall, huh?
Well, that's, you could probably talk about because that's new. Burbank's got it a couple of years ago, but that saves some guys' backs.
Absolutely, and it allows them to focus on different aspects of the patient care. It frees up their hands to establish an airway and to start an IV and be able to administer meds a lot faster so that they've progressed their patient care further by the time they get to me in the ER.
How long have you, let me ask you, how long have you done that job? Because that can take a toll on your life. But I know nurses, and especially trauma nurses or ER nurses, you got to have a loving for life. I mean, it's a challenging job when people don't make it, and some of the things you see is just heartbreaking. And you probably have seen it because I know what goes over to St. Joe's.
I've actually been in emergency medicine for almost a decade. I was an EMT before I ever became a nurse. I was an ER tech, and I've been a nurse since the beginning of 2021. So I was a tech through the pandemic and a nurse through the pandemic as well. And I still love my job just as much as I did.
It's a calling.
It is.
People say, right, like firefighters, who wants to wake up at 3 a.m. to go pick up somebody that fell out of their bed and has to go to the hospital? They call grunt runs or whatever, but these people are living a lot longer. I have relatives that are living a lot longer. Now, St. Joe's is, as I know, some people say, well, why isn't it a trauma center? People don't understand. It was at one time, many years ago.
Long time ago.
But it takes more than an army to be an authorized trauma center. You have to have a full medical staff. You can't call somebody and say, hey, we got somebody coming in. You got to be prepared to go. And that's why watching these TV shows, it's kind of like watching any other TV show. There's a lot of drama there.
Yes.
But, how team members work and everything. Good friend of mine, Angeline Campen, I tell you, talk to anybody that can control and
She's
keep.
amazing.
Isn't she?
Yeah.
She, and I've called her and texted her on questions, and she's still to this day, even now she's retired or semi-retired.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, you guys do a hell of a job.
Thank you.
Coming out here today and teaching people. And
you were talking about TV shows. So have you seen The Pit?
I have seen The Pit, yes.
How about Code Black?
I have not watched Code Black.
Okay. Are there any shows you've watched that you think, what, they've pretty well captured what goes on?
I think we all agree The Pit has actually done a very good job reflecting emergency medicine.
And we all love Noah Wiley in that role from his ER days.
Yeah. Of course, there's still dramatization, but it's actually been the most accurate so far, I guess, since ER, really.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I was watching a couple weeks ago. I'm addicted to it, like a lot of people. They brought in a patient, and I happen to have fatty liver disease and varices or whatever.
Yeah.
And they had on the show a person that what it is veins running up your esophagus to your brain, and I have bulges. Mine are bulging, so they've gone in. I've been in your gastro department many times. Dr. Fisher, a great doctor, and he said I'll be in fact, the end of the month to go in, and just medicine nowadays. So I'm watching, on TV, and they bring in somebody that had blood everywhere, and they don't shy on use blood, but that's what.
Honestly, in that situation, it's pretty accurate, and it requires a lot of resources really fast. It requires immediate blood from blood bank. I mean, it requires a lot of teamwork.
Yeah.
And those situations can go so bad so fast, and we have such an incredible team.
Well, St. Joe's has been an advertiser in myBurbank for many, many months. Michelle Hoker from your communications team, and we run articles all the time. And I guess I just heard recently they got to tear down one of the buildings because earthquake safety and all that, and how do you raise funds for that and so forth. People don't realize we have a great hospital there, folks. I mean, we hear when
they say for heart attacks, St. Joe's is the Cadillac of hospitals.
Yes.
and stroke now.
Yes,
People don't
absolutely.
realize
Yes.
the time when somebody is cared to on stroke and the medicines you can put. One of your own doctors there had a stroke and was fully functional in 6 months. And to me, and St. Joe's is one of those. And that was one of the big reasons of building the new ERs, so you don't have to go to the basement, and you can bring CT scans and all that. It just, St. Joe's, like I said, we're so fortunate. 501, Buena Vista and Alameda, and for the team, for the nurses. Everybody looks at paramedics out there in the field, but when that box shows up at your back door, it's your show.
Yes, sir.
It's literally your show. As a lifelong Burbank citizen, I love it. I had 2 grandkids, and my son, was born there.
Wonderful.
It's just, it's a great hospital, and your team that you work with, even out, the camaraderie with all the doctors and nurses is
Incredible.
It is. Well, thank you for what you do. Thank you for being here teaching sidewalk CPR, and I know if anybody is interested, you guys do it not only here at Fire Service Day, sometimes down on the Paseo they've done it.
Yes.
They've gone different places. They could always check the fire department website. They kind of put that out. So again, Tabitha, I appreciate you coming on air with us and what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming on. Thank you.
I hope not to see you anytime soon.
Not either.
Ross, another guest. Why don't you introduce him?
Well, we are, I tell you, we've had some fantastic guests on today from the Burbank Fire Department. We just happen to have somebody that came from Glendale Fire Department, retired as a battalion chief, I believe, several years ago. We won't say how long ago. Is that how long? And Tom is now the chief over at Disney Studio.
Captain,
excuse me. A lot of people don't realize that the Disney, right, like Warner Brothers, has a fire department. It's a volunteer, but, they do the same thing, inspections and building checks and everything. And you just, like you said, just keep going, You're like an ever-ready bunny. And then you also, for years, did the burn relay. I remember
Correct.
being involved with that with you for many, many years.
Yep. 23 years.
Now that ranch building isn't there anymore.
That's right.
That kind of changed. Isn't that how that whole... But tell us what's going on at Disney and what you're loving.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ross. Thank you for having me. I did a 35-year career in Glendale Fire, retired, and then had the great opportunity to work for the Walt Disney Company. I'm assigned to the Burbank Studio campus. Our fire department consists of 4 paid fire captains covering all the Disney lots, including Burbank, Glendale, and over in Los Angeles. And then we have our fire chief that leads our team. We do have, as you mentioned, a volunteer corps. We have now about 8 to 10 volunteers that have signed up and are actively involved that we can access during large emergencies or instance that we need additional resources that maybe Burbank Fire can't supply.
And you were telling me earlier you have a new piece of apparatus, right?
Yeah, we just ordered a new engine. Our current engine is like a 1989 Ford, and we've been in need of a new engine, so we just ordered that. It's supposed to be arriving in November, so hopefully you can come and
Oh, that'd be cool.
and see that. But that'll be exciting to get the new piece of apparatus on the lot.
And people don't realize, even though you have the Disney campus, I mean, the building and so forth, and the offices, you have stages there. You have a big piece of property, a big responsibility. And people don't kind of understand when an alarm goes off. Yes, Burbank is responding, but that first initial size up comes from you guys.
Yep, that's correct. Our studio lot's 51 acres.
Wow.
We have 7 sound stages. Not huge, but we do have a lot of activity there. And fortunately, I believe that with my past experience in fire service, that when we do have an emergency, I just roll into action like I did before. When Burbank does respond, I'm familiar with most of the responders. They're familiar with me, so it kind of makes it seamless when they come in and need to take over and jump and do what they need to deal with. But I can provide them access. I can give them some direction on utilities, egress, different gates to use, just try and make it easier for them.
And when you were at Glendale, you were in charge of, you were a platoon
Correct.
Battalion chief, as I recall. And that's where I think you and I met each other many, many years ago.
Yep.
And I think we've shared it on today's podcast. There's no city lines anymore. If you need a rig, you can get Glendale, you can get Pasadena.
And the fortunate thing was working Glendale with a lot of these Burbank personnel. We worked seamlessly there as well. So getting to know these folks here in Burbank was a great help. And now with Disney, when they come in, it's just seamless as well. I know most of the responders that come in, at least at the captain or the chief level, and it just assists our interaction with them to run a lot smoother.
You know, I know, the rigs, these guys train, and, if you need to send something, a Glendale guy to a Burbank rig, it won't be unfamiliar. They know, they've trained together, they do brush responses together. I listen to the radio all night long or 24 hours a day, and it's real seamless. And when they're responding into a piece of Disney property, and Craig and I are usually water flows, and they don't need to roll everybody. You're there pretty quick, and
yeah.
And you're gonna keep doing it for a while.
Well, yeah, it's fun, and it keeps me busy. It's exciting work. It's a great place to work. The Walt Disney Company is an outstanding employer. I enjoyed it. It's interesting. It's you see unique things that I wouldn't have seen otherwise, and it just makes it fun every day to go to work and see what's going to be happening there.
Well, many years ago, I was a fireman at Warner Brothers when it was the Burbank Studios, and people, I can go watch a show now. No fun watching the show because how they're doing it and how the effects are and everything. And like you say, when you leave working for a municipality like Glendale, then you go work on a studio and everything is controlled.
Yeah.
I mean, you shut off a valve or it's totally different, but it's a totally different perspective filming.
Yeah. One thing I realized quickly is municipal fire department is a lot different than a corporate environment. There's pros and cons to both, but there is specific procedures and ways to do things on the studio lot that you're really not going to mess things up. Accidentally have a fire alarm go off during a corporate executive meeting at a high level that you really don't want to have happen. So a lot of communication, a lot of things coordinated, but it's still a fun, great environment.
And like you say, where you're located here in Burbank, I mean, working with Burbank Fire as you do, and the surrounding area so well, it's super.
Yeah.
Well, we started off, we talked to Matt Garland, we talked to some nurses from St. Joe's, we talked to the fire department administrator, Dave Burke, in his role. Now we're going to end it with Captain from Disney. Burbank has, people don't realize, we got studios here, Disney has their own, Warner Brothers has their own, Airport has their own, so it's all encompassed.
It's a great team, and we do get great support from the City of Burbank Fire Department. I work closely with them. They come often to the lot, some as a casual visit, some as official business. But we follow under their jurisdiction and authority, so we want to make sure things are done right and safe to keep them happy and to make sure that all of our cast members go home safe each night to their families.
Well, you just said it. You work with Mickey and Minnie, literally. Literally, you've seen Mickey and Minnie doing many, many things, but it's kind of different over there. Just the Disney psychology and how they operate versus, Warner Brothers, how they operate as a rental lot,
Yeah.
And so forth. And it's kind of neat that I don't think a lot of people that follow my Burbank podcast do. They drive past the studio. What goes on inside, they have no clue.
Yeah. And it is a closed lot where other studios have tours available. Disney Studios does not allow people just walking off the street for tours, but if you are a member of their official fan club, the D23 Club, then they have tours available to that group and organization. But other than that, it's a closed lot. So, yeah, a lot of people drive by and wonder, what's going on in there, and there's a lot of great stuff happening every day.
There is, and we are the media capital of the world. I mean, Glendale's a near close, but I mean here with all of our studios, and Disney has been home here, I think, since the 50s, if I recall right. That's
1940.
what I saw. 40. I remember when Walt Disney chose to, set up shop here, and you guys own a big place. Like how many acres?
51.
Wow, that's a big piece of property.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, we're wrapping up. You are a gentleman to stop by and give us a little update and brief on the Disney Fire Department. Stay healthy and
Very well.
say hi to the mouse in the house.
Thanks for all the work you do.
Hey, thank you, Captain. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, Ross and Craig, we've done it. Now, Craig, I know you weren't on the interviews today, but you were here.
I wish.
Dealing with all the people coming in and showing them all the great stuff that we do at myBurbank, and you've done yourself and everything. So we appreciate that. Wish could have got you a little more on the show, but
me too. Sorry I couldn't.
Glad you were here, but
be here in the middle part. But I was
so Ross,
busy at the photo displays.
So Ross, what did you learn today?
I learned a lot. I learned a lot from our administrator, Christine, and everybody. And talking to Dave Burke is always a pleasure. We got to talk to some different people, and what a fantastic day. I saw smiles. Never heard a kid crying out here. We were kind of lucky to be in the fire station where it was at least 30 degrees cooler than out in the back lot. And, what a great day. 2025.
How many of these have we done over the
done
years?
A few.
Yeah.
Fire Service Day 2025 is
in the books.
In the books, and we got to thank the Burbank Fire Department for allowing us.
Absolutely. Every year they always give us a great place here and very accommodating, so we thank them.
They're gracious hosts.
Yeah, Danny, we want to thank Danny Alvarez. I know he wasn't on headset, but Dave Burke was. Matt Garland, who did a great job this year, his first year, he did a great job, and just everybody and everything.
So that's it for another year. For Craig Durling and Ross Benson, this is Craig Sherwood saying thank you once again for watching and listening. Hit the like button, subscribe.
Like, follow, subscribe.
Do all that stuff. We appreciate it. And we will talk to you next time.
Thank you for watching our myBurbank video. Please consider a channel membership to support us, or head over to our merch store where you can pick up some great items. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the latest videos, and please don't forget to hit that like button.